What is going on, everybody? My name is Mason from Prank Film. So today I'm going to be teaching you simple tips and techniques that will be helping you edit better in Adobe Premiere if you're a beginner or you want to get started. So let's go ahead and open up Adobe Premiere today. So Adobe Premiere, it's a great editing app for beginners. It's also great for professionals. So I'm going to teach you some tricks I use as a professional for these projects. So go ahead and open up a brand new project. Go ahead and name it whatever you want to do. Now, when you're editing your project, if you have like a gaming laptop or even if you want to use your CPU, go ahead and click Mercury Playback Engine, GPU acceleration. Software only is a little bit slower, so you'll have slowdowns. But if you have the right tools and you're just a starting out computer, always go ahead and click this. So we'll get started. Press OK. So once you have your project completely opened up, we're gonna go ahead and press File. We're gonna import the clips that you wanna use. So I'm gonna go ahead and import some stuff from a trailer I did for my Halo film, also coming out very soon. So what you're gonna do is once you import all your clips like this, we are gonna go ahead and make sure our clips are working perfectly fine. So let's go ahead and bring this clip right here. So this is your preview window right here. This allows you to watch your clip back and forth. So like this. So what we're gonna do, we only wanna use a little bit of this clip. So what we're gonna do is when you have a clip right here on your preview window, you only wanna get a couple seconds of it. So to start out your cut, we're gonna go ahead and cut it. So we're gonna press I, and that starts out the beginning in the clip, and right where you want to cut it, you press O. So right here, it should show you where your cuts are. And once you have that in, we're gonna go ahead and drop your project right into your timeline. And there we go, we're started with what we want to do. Okay, so as you notice, our clip looks a little bit flat. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and color grade the footage. So what you're gonna do is click Color, and you notice it looks flat, it doesn't look great. Well, you can always click on this clip right here. And my favorite thing to do, if you're filming in a flat footage, you wanna make sure you wanna go towards what you want it to look like. What's important with every editing clips in your own film is having your own sense of taste of what you want your project to look like, your mood. So let's just say we wanted it more. For this project, we want to make it look more like a sunset type of vibe. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and bring our color more towards the orange side. And this is going to get us to start where we want to go. So for this clip, it still looks really flat. So what we're going to do is go ahead and bring up the contrast. And for flat footage, always bring up the contrast. It helps out with just bringing out more color to it. And you can notice it still looks really dark. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna bring up the exposure just a little bit. You don't wanna overexpose it because it'll look like this if it's overexposed. And if it's underexposed, it'll look like this. So we're gonna bring up our clip just to be this much. That way it gives us playing room with adjusting the other settings. And for this clip, we wanna make it look more colorful. We want his green in his suit to pop out more. And we want the back of the sunset to pop out more. And since it's a flat footage, we're gonna go ahead and bring up the saturation just a little bit. This is what would happen if it was oversaturated and this is undersaturated. So if you're doing like a black and white film, this is also a technique you can use if you wanted footage like this. But we're gonna go ahead and bring up the saturation where I feel like it would be okay. So I'm gonna say around here for this clip, just because we want to touch it up more. So my favorite thing is using this right here. It's called the color wheel and match. This allows you to adjust your shadows, midtones, and highlights. So when you're adjusting your shadows, what you want to do is bring it down just a little bit. You don't want to crush your blacks because it'll look like this and the color will look terrible. And you don't want to like bring it up too much because it will look like this. So what we want to do is we want to have the perfect point where you don't want the black levels to look crashed. So right where it looks perfect and it doesn't look weird, because keep in mind when you're editing like colors, it will get compressed on YouTube. So if you like mess up your colors, it's gonna show up really bad when exported into a project. So I like the colors where the shadows are right now. Now we're gonna go ahead and adjust the midtones. If this is what happens if it's overexposed, this is underexposed. But so for this project, we wanna have it more around, probably around here. And for your highlights, this is overexposed, this is underexposed. But for this, we wanna keep it a little bit on the bright side. So now that we have our clip, it's starting to look really good. So we're gonna go ahead and over here, like I said earlier, we wanted to leave room to edit it more. Now this allows you to adjust your highlights even further. I'm gonna go ahead and actually bring this up just because I wanna bring up the highlights in the suit. I want it to kind of look like a fiery, like burnt planet. So we're gonna do that. And then your shadows, you obviously don't want to underexpose it and you don't want to overexpose it. So I kind of want to bring it around here. I think that would be perfect for what I'm doing, but for your project, it's always good to test out what you like and what you don't like. And so now that we have enough room, we're gonna go ahead and play with the saturation just a little bit. I mean, obviously you don't want it like over saturated. It looks colorful, but it might not be doing our project justice. So what I want to do is bring up the brightness again. I don't want to over expose our photo. Somewhere around here, maybe even adjusting your contrast more. Now this is based off of project case by case on how your file looks. So you obviously don't want to over expose or over contrast what you want to do. So I'm actually going to bring down the highlights now that I use more contrast, and I think I'm going to add in more of an orange tone, just a little bit more. So our final clip is going to start looking like this. And now that we have our footage color graded, what we're gonna do is we're gonna add something called an adjustment layer. So an adjustment layer is where you get the black bars. So if you're making a movie and maybe you wanna add in black bars for your project and maybe you look more professional, depends on what you wanna use it. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna right click, go to new item, go to adjustment layer, and you're gonna press OK. And then you're gonna grab this right here and you're gonna drag it over your clips. Now that it's dragged over your clips, you want to click on the adjustment layer, go to effects, type in crop. Now crop is gonna allow you to get the black bars. So once you put everything over your project and crop is in, we're gonna go to effect controls. And then right here, you're gonna change that percentage to 10%. So that's the bottom one. And then you go to top and you can press 10% also. So now your clip looks really cinematic. It's just a technique that you can use if you're making a film, if you're making a YouTube video, like a montage or anything like that, and you wanna get that black bar look and you wanna get it color graded and make it look good, those are some simple tricks. Now, we're gonna do our final part, and this is adding like a beginning graphic. So let's just say you wanna make an intro to your film, but you don't know what to do. Here's some things that you can always do. You go to graphics, essential graphics, and you just find something that you like, right? So we're gonna go ahead and go right here, film title. I like this one personally. I use it for a couple films. You can actually bring it up over here. So let's get our film title. So we're gonna click on your title here, and then you're gonna click edit. So once you click edit, we're gonna go ahead and change the name of this. So double click that, and I'm just gonna put Halo test film. So I'll have it like this. Halo test film, episode name. So I'm gonna delete this because I don't want the episode name. So we're gonna go ahead and press delete. Now, if you notice, this transition between here looks weird. There's some tricks that you can use to transition in a clip really well. So what we're gonna do is go ahead and click on that clip right here. And we're gonna also bring out our adjustment layer right here. This way it doesn't affect anything. It looks perfect when we're transitioning in. So we're gonna click on effects. We'll go ahead and delete this. Click go video transition, dissolve, and film dissolve. So we'll drag it right in front of our clip like this. So let's start it out. Now the clip looks good transitioning in. And if you want to transition out, there's two effects that you can also use. So you could also use dissolve the black. Now this is all based off of preference. If you want to dissolve the clip out like that, you can always click on the transition if you don't want it and just tap delete on your keyboard. Or you can go to film dissolve, which personally I believe is the best looking one. It's the same thing as fade the black, but I think it's easier to use. It's something that all beginners should just try out. Film dissolve is a great transition and it'll definitely get you set right. So we'll film it out like there, and there you go. So now you have a beginning and you have an end. Now, once that's all done, we want to go ahead and render out these clips. This makes it easier when you're finally rendering at the end. So we'll click on sequence and it will go render into out. And this just allows you to, when you're working on a project, it allows the project to work smoother. That way so you don't use too much of your computer bandwidth and your processing speed, so you can work on other clips with working on that. So once you have that all done, we'll go ahead and highlight this project and we're gonna click File, Export, Export Media. So let's go ahead and put our project, name it whatever you want to do. I'm just gonna put it as teased. And make sure everything is right here. It says match source. So our source is 3840 by 2160. Make sure everything looks good. Always click render at maximum depth. This just allows your project to look better when it's rendered out, and make sure it looks exactly like how you put it in the timeline. So now that is done, if you want to software encode, software encoding will actually make your project take longer to render out, but it will give you cool things that you can do. So if you were ever to do HDR footage, you would actually do software encoding. But for us, we're going to do hardware encoding today. And since we want this video to look great on YouTube, this is something that's very important when you're posting. So when you're exporting your project, you want to make sure your target bitrate right here is at least above 20. And this allows it so it's not so compressed on YouTube where all your colors and everything that you did doesn't look like weird and funky. So we're going to go ahead and my rule is always have it above 20 for YouTube. That way we just make sure it looks great. So once we're done with that, make sure everything looks good. And we will go ahead and press export. Now that you've exported your project, you can go ahead and click where your project was saved. So these are some cool things that you could also do. If you want to save your project while working on it, all you got to do is press Control S. And there you go. It saves your project like that. You don't have to go to File, Save Project. And it's just simple tricks. So once you have that, let's go ahead and open up our project. We'll open up our project right here. And this is what our film should look like. These are just some simple techniques that I learned when starting out on YouTube. I wish I knew it when I originally started, but these are some things I want to teach you. So if you like this video, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Halo Shadows of Reach Part 2 will be out soon in 2021. All right, guys, I will see you guys in the next video. We're almost there at 1,000, so click that sub button. Later, guys.